In strings, we begin to learn about reading music and reading notes. Here are some basics that you need to know. The note name, the letter name that we've been learning by rote, is determined by where that note head fits on a line or a space. So here, for example, on the violin staff here, if we click on this D, that note head right there on that space is the note D. Now, whether it's a half note like that or a quarter note like this, it doesn't matter. It's a D. Now, if it goes up one line, you have the note E. D to E. On the viola, this space right here, that is the note D. Go up one to the next line, that's the note E. D is the open string, E is the first finger. For the cello, this middle space, this middle line is the note D. That's your open D string. First finger is this note E. Now, to play the note F sharp, first in the notation, you have to have the sharp sign, also known as the pound sign or the hashtag. In music, we call it a sharp sign. So, for example, here on the violin line, that space, that's F sharp. For violas, notice it doesn't have the sharp sign. You need to add it there. Ooh, what happened? Let's erase that. There you go. Pound sign. F sharp. There we go. Here's pound sign. Sharp. F sharp. So that's what an F sharp looks like. So let's take, for example, here in the cello, the three notes we're going to worry about. Here's a D. Here's an E. And then the F sharp. Here in the viola line, D, E, F sharp. Violin line, D, E, F sharp. Here we are looking at page 1 of the viola packet. If you follow the cursor here, you can see how the packet starts by introducing the open strings. Here's the open C string. Way down here below one ledger line, these extra lines are called ledger lines. That's the low C string. Then here in line 2, you can see the notation for the open A. Here's some whole notes above the top line. This note head placement will always be your A string. Here at line 3, you can see the note head on this space right here. This is the note D. It will always be the note D here in the alto clef for viola. Looking down at line 4, you can see how they use open G string. All of the rhythms on this page are whole notes. So if we look at line 3, for example, we've got a whole note D, another whole note D, and then this is a whole rest. You can tell it's a whole rest because it's hanging under the line. And then it ends with another whole note D. You would play it like this. D, 2, 3, 4. D, 2, 3, 4. Rest, 2, 3, 4. D, 2, 3, 4. Exercise over. You can tell the exercise is over when it has this double bar at the end. If it didn't have the double bar, that would mean you just keep on reading right on to the next line. Now as we scroll down, Get to page 2. Similar concept with the open strings, except now we're using half notes and half rests. Half note looks just like a whole note, except it has this stem on it. Still the open note head, but with a stem. Let's take, for example, exercise 2 here on page 2. You have these 3 measures of half notes ending with a whole note. They sound like this. A2, 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 3, 4. As you scroll down this page, you see the use of the open strings. Going over here to page 3, quarter notes and quarter rests. If we look here at line 2, this squiggly thing, this is a quarter rest. So we play line 2 like this. A, rest. A, rest. A, 2, 3, 4, exercise over. Using that information, you should be able to figure out all these open string exercises in the first 3 pages. In the 4th page, we begin to use our first finger. Zoom in here. So here we are, page 4, exercise 1. We see we have note A. It's on this space at the top, above that top line. B, they have to add 1 ledger line. A, B, A. You need to begin to memorize which note names are which spaces and lines. I would encourage you not to write in the note names, but begin memorizing right away in these beginning stages which ones are which. Look here, page 4, line 2. We have these whole notes. A, 2, 3, 4. B, 2, 3, 4. A, 2, 3, 4. B, 2, 3, 4. A, 2, 3, 4. Exercise over. See later down the page, using our first finger on the D string. Let's look at line 5. D, 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 E, 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 D, 2, 3, 4. Hopefully you could tell that the half note was 2 counts, while each quarter note was 1 count. And here at the very end, the whole note gets 4 counts. Using that information, you should be able to figure out lines 6 and 7 using these open strings and first finger. If you're not sure of what note is which, in your part of the practicing is going back in through the packet and memorizing and figuring it out. Don't write in the note names. Go back and figure it out and memorize which is which. We're only introducing a few notes at a time, so it shouldn't be too hard. Going on to page 6, or excuse me, page 5. Start to use that F sharp, second finger on your D string. You can see that they have this symbol here next to the F to help us know it's F sharp. This symbol has lots of names. Some might know it as the pound sign. Some of it might know as the hashtag. But in music, it's called a sharp. You put the sharp sign in front of the note. Let's look at line 2 here. D, 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 E, 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 F, 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 sharp, F, 2, 3, 4, F, 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 sharp, E, 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 D, 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 2, 3, 4, exercise over. Using that information, you can see how we are prepared to play Hot Cross Buns at the bottom of page 5. We've already learned this by rote, but here's what it looks like written down. Page 6 doesn't introduce anything new other than having the open A. We've already learned open A in the first 3 pages, but here it is mixed in some exercises. Make sure you've memorized which is which. As you're working through this, you can start figuring out Mary Had a Little Lamb and At Perrault's Door. Here we are just working with 4 different notes, F sharp, E, D, and then it's got a couple A's thrown in here. Go ahead and study them, and you'll be able to play them very easily.